YouTube? Yeah, know Big Lou tapping back in with what it do with Big Lou NFZR2, baby. So check it out. So you can tell, if you can tell, as you can tell from that thumbnail, excuse me. This is my reaction to the Saturday night fight between uh, Jake Paul and Mike Perry, right? Um, there might be some follow-up videos to this because I've I've seen a couple topics regarding this fight here. But let me get into the fight first. So Mike Perry was a UFC fighter. He's like 32 years old, so he's not old really. He's not like over what they call over the hill like Tyron Woodley was and Anderson Silva and what was the other guy that he beat? The guy that Masvidal gave the knee to and he fell. Askren. Um, uh, Jake Paul, or excuse me, uh, Mike Perry, UFC. Then he went on and he's been performing in fighting in the bare knuckle fight, right? I think it's called BKFC. I think it is. Excuse me. And he showed that he's a little tough. He's a tough son of a gun. He took on. I can't think of that one guy. He took on. His name just slipped my mind right now. A lot taller, a lot bigger of a guy, right? And he put hands on him, and bare knuckle though. Um, I thought this was going to be a bare knuckle fight, but it was a boxing match, right? So, anyways, um, Jake Paul, 27 years old, put hands on Mike Perry. Um, Mike Perry just looked real small to me. They say he's listed at 5'10", 196, and Mike Perry, 5'10", 196, and that Jake Paul was 6'1", 200 pounds. Uh, it didn't look like no four-pound weight difference to me. Not to mention you're talking about a 3-inch height difference, right? Does three inches equal yeah, it can and it can't, right? I mean, does 3 inches equal 4 pounds? Uh, I would I would tend to disagree with that, and just the way they looked, he looked way bigger than him. Um, and I know Mike Perry's a tough dude, right? So, but he couldn't it wasn't MMA, so he couldn't kick. You know what I'm saying? And he had gloves on. It was a boxing match, straight up boxing match, which Perry, I believe, was 0-1 coming into this fight. Unless that that tell of the tape that I seen that said 0-1, it couldn't have been this loss to Jake Paul because it was the tell of the tape for that fight. So, from my understanding, he's 0-1 as a boxer. Now he's 0-2, but it only went 6 rounds, right? And he was putting hands on him. But I also read in some of the stories that some he had got a lot of critiques uh, from former UFC fighters and boxers because he was all over the place. Like he wasn't, he wasn't, he was all over the place. He was just throwing punches from different angles and stuff like that. I don't know if it was part of if he was showboating or what. I didn't watch the fight fully. I'm gonna probably check it out in a little bit here, but I mean, it didn't interest me. You know what I'm saying? It's not interesting to see Jake Paul fight, in my opinion. Even though he is getting better and better, no doubt about it. Um, and now because of this win, he's got. It's said that the WBA is possibly going to put him up to fight Cesar Chavez Jr. for a title. Uh, if Cesar Chavez Jr. goes in there as the Cesar Chavez Jr. that he once was, now that's a big asking, right? That's something big to expect, right? Because he's been off his game for so long, right? And he hasn't taken boxing serious at all in a long while, right? I mean, it's been years since Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. has taken the sport of boxing seriously. So, I mean, I guess it just depends on Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. if he's gonna train properly, and keep the toxins out of his system, and so he can perform at the highest level, Can he get back to that shape? You know what I'm saying? Can he get back to those that skill set that he once had? He was once a champ, right? You know, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, but I'm just thinking that because he was nowhere near the success that his father had, that and other things led him to not be, not not work hard at his craft. You know what I'm saying? I could be, I could be totally wrong on that, but the fact is, he would never be like his father. He's a different, he's a way bigger person, right? Therefore, he's fighting bigger people, obviously, right? Um, I think he began at 154, and then I think he's got up to middleweight 160, and I think he even fought it at super middleweight 168, and maybe even light heavyweight. I'm not sure. I have to go and check that out. But Jake Paul is fighting at 200 right now, so that's heavyweight. That's heavyweight. If they fight under the WBC, they could fight as bridgeweight. Bridgerweight is called. And from my understanding, and if I remember correctly, WBC is the only sanctioning body that has that division in their amongst their rankings, right? The Bridger weight, which is I believe it's 200 or 205 pounds. So normally a cruiserweight would be 190. Anything over that would be automatic heavyweight, but because they implemented a Bridger weight division in the WBC sanctioning body, that weight limit's like 200, 205. And that's when they were talking about Deontay Wilder possibly, attempting to snag another weight division, at Bridger weight, which I believe he can do it. You know, he's always fought light, 215, 212, 211, 217. I don't even think he got up that high. I think 216, 215, around that it was his high, you know what I'm saying? But packed a hell of a punch at one point. He still has that punch. That power hasn't went nowhere, you know what I'm saying? But everything else, his self-esteem, his confidence is left his body, I believe. And he needs, if he's going to continue to fight, he needs to get into fighting, 4 or 5 tune-up matches to get his confidence built back up. You can't lose and then keep getting in there with guys that are in the top, top 10 of the heavyweight division and expect a different result. It is what it is. But back to Jake Paul, he's getting better and better. So I already, with each, he's training hard. It shows, but by the way he looks, his physique, his cardio, his stamina, it's all showing, right? Um, I seen Darren Till make a statement that he's all juiced up. I'm not gonna say no shit like that. I have no proof of that. Therefore nobody should be saying anything like that. Just because the way somebody looks, it's hard work and dedication. You can tell that Jake Paul is dedicated to becoming better and better in boxing. Now, is he going to get to that point at some? Obviously he's improving, but is he going to get to the point where he's going to get in there with Canelo Alvarez and people of that nature? That stature. You know what I'm saying? Status. I don't believe so. I believe, Jake Paul. Excuse me, Canelo will be retired by the time Jake Paul ever gets to that level. He's only got 10 pro fights. You know what I'm saying? Half of them are against UFC fighters that are over the hill. You know what I'm saying? The one true boxer he fought, Tommy Fury, he beat him. Tommy Fury beat him. So, um, but I'm still not taking nothing away from him. He's been doing his thing and he continues to do his thing. But another thing I read was that he picks all his opponents, and they're always, ex MMA. They're always smaller. They're always shorter, smaller reach. And then I read something else that it said something about he pays these guys to lose. So that's what I meant by there might be other videos following up. I'm going to look into it a little bit more. Also, he's calling out Alex Pereira for a fight, a boxing match. I think Pereira would kill him if he lands, but I think at this point, Jake Paul's skills, I believe they're better than Pereira. Pereira's real slow. He's real. He's more just stand there type guy. Barely bobbing, barely moving a little bit. He's real slow, but he packs a hell of a punch. But I can see Jake Paul getting off 3, 4, 5 punches to one of Pereira's punches. But what I meant, and the reason I'm bringing Pereira into it is because, you know, it's endless on the amount of, on the money making side of this thing. Plus, we know Jake Paul is involved with promoting. He's the promoter of Amanda Serrano, so she just also won a bout. And they're calling her the GOAT, the greatest woman of all time. Um, I'm pretty sure Clarissa Shields would argue that, but I don't think she really can because I know Clarissa's a two-time undisputed, two different weight classes. There's only her and Terrence Crawford to ever do it, one man, one woman. But just like Manny Pacquiao at 8 divisions, he's won titles in 8 divisions. Serrano has also won. It's either 7 or 8 divisions. So uh, we'll see what happens with that. We'll see. So those are two things that are on the table, possibly for Jake Paul, and then you still got the Mike Tyson and the Mike Tyson fight. But I forgot who the other one is. He might fight. Is it Chavez Jr. or was it another name? So we'll see what happens with that. And then the other part about this that I mentioned was that they said something about him paying the fighters. Also, that he only picks fighters that are smaller, shorter, less of a reach, and ex MMA fighters. And on top of that, they said that Conor McGregor came out saying that Mike Perry's fired from uh, bare knuckle fighting championship. Whatever. I mean, I don't know what is Conor McGregor part owner or owner of that. I don't know. So there's a few things that popped up while I was overlooking some of the articles. Um, and so we'll see what happens. But at this point, Jake Paul made a good amount of money being a YouTuber, and he's been making some decent money boxing, obviously, or he wouldn't be able to do what he's been doing. Being a promoter. You know, uh, uh, how would I say that? Getting his promotion company off, up and off the ground. You know what I'm saying? Um, we'll see where that goes. There's been a lot of talk about that the Saudis were going to buy out all the boxing promoters. De La Hoya has already came out saying that he hasn't been approached at all on his clapback Thursday or clapback whatever day that was when he came out with that video, and that he also declined to sign Shakur Stevenson because Shakur Stevenson said he don't fight for the public. So De La Hoya said, "Well, if you don't fight for the public, you're a good fighter and all, but there's no reason for me to, try to get you, uh, us to sign a contract for me to promote you." So there it is with that. But on top of so we'll see what happens with Jake Paul, Mike Perry, Mike Tyson, Alex Pereira, Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., and where else boxing going from there. Also, the upcoming bout with Terrence Crawford is going up against the current WBA champion. I don't know how to pronounce his name correctly. Raminov, I think it is. He's currently the WBA junior middleweight champion or the super welterweight champion. And then also the WBO was vacated by Tim Tszyu, I believe, or they stripped him of it. And so that belt is vacant. That belt's up. It's vacant. So whoever wins that bout will be a unified champion. And if Crawford pulls it off, he'll be a four division world champion with 2 undisputeds and a unified champion. And I think he was unified champion in another division before this one. If he's able to pull that off, which is another excellent achievement. Um, you know, accolades to become another champion and a champion again in another division, and on top of that, a unified champion. So, I'll bring that to you, and we'll see what else is going on in the boxing world and also the UFC world. I got some other sports videos going to be dropping here. Um, some dual sports athletes, and obviously, I'm going to continue with the political videos. And with that being said, Big Lou tapping out.